Welcome to Brandon Now. I'm your guest host today, RJ Lilly. WCG-TV likes to bring me in when we have wrestling-related programs, and today we have a jam-packed show as Canadian Wrestling's Elite has made its way to Westman. Now, we are recording this on a Tuesday, so we do have a show tonight in Souris at the Souris and Glenwood Memorial Complex, and then on Brandon. On Wednesday, we're going to be at the Great Western Roadhouse, and it's going to be an absolutely packed show. Now, I can guarantee that because we have a very special guest on the tour, and we have him in the building today. He is a WWE Hall of Famer, Jake the Snake Roberts. Thanks so much for coming in today.
No problem.
Now, he's pointing to another man who could be considered a star here as well. He's been just blowing crowds' minds all tour. He is a 354-pound monster from St. Louis, Missouri. Very nice guy outside the ring, but you do not want to double-cross him inside the ring. KLD, Kevin Lee Davidson, thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate it.
Now, we want to start with these two here. They definitely traveled the longest to be here, St. Louis and Stone Mountain, Georgia, respectively here. Jake, first off, did you miss traveling this much? You haven't had a day off in weeks.
Oh, it's not been that bad, you know. I mean, once you get out and you get into the rhythm of it, it just kind of flows along, you know. I remember back in the day when I was doing it and wrestling every night, your body gets sore and it just stays sore. So you're on an even keel there, so there's no problems.
You get used to it then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we were talking numbers before we went on the air here, and 93.
That was my record, 93 days straight.
And you worked another legend quite a bit
Ricky
there.
Steamboat, yeah.
So when you're wrestling a guy like Ricky Steamboat 93 straight days, does it make it a little easier for you?
Oh, yeah. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. No, you just kind of go out there and go for it, you know. And, you know, Steamboat and I, we go out there and just have a chess match, basically, and just have some fun doing it. You know, if you're having fun, chances are the people watching you are too. You know, that's what I've learned over the years. And just to be in the ring with Ricky was a pleasure, and you knew that you had to be at the top of your game, man, because it was going to be spot on.
Now, going from the WWF and the WWE to CWE, Canadian Wrestling's Elite, you're working with a lot of different people on this tour. You know, you've traveled, we started in Manitoba, you worked your way out west to Golden, BC, you're now working your way back to Ontario, all the way to Blind River, I believe, Sault Ste. Marie as well. What's it like working with a lot of up-and-comers in the industry? Well,
I've always liked being around the younger guys, you know, just to help them. You know, I mean, when I first started, there were a lot of great guys that would give me the pointers and help me along my way. And, you know, if you come up and you're a professional wrestler, your duty is to make the product better at all times. And that's just the way I feel. You know, why not make everybody better and share knowledge and, you know, make it easier and just make it a better product all around.
Well, certainly one guy that you have been working with a little bit here, Kevin Lee Davidson. Yeah. What can you tell us about KLD here?
Don't get in his way if he's eating. No, he is an amazing athlete. Blows your mind when you watch him. It really does, man. And it's a pleasure to be around him. You know, usually when you put a couple of guys like us in a car, you kind of wonder, well, how long is it going to last before the marriage is over? And I'm happy to say that we're still getting along fine.
So KLD, what does it mean to you to hear words like that from a legend like Jake the Snake Roberts?
It's very humbling, man. Obviously, I grew up watching Jake Roberts, and when I signed up for the tour, I didn't know Jake was going to be on the tour, much less riding with Jake the entire tour. So it's been an excellent experience for me. Like I said, it's very humbling to hear words like that come from him about my work, and it just makes me feel really good and really accomplished about what I've poured my heart and soul and basically my entire life to. I've given up a lot to be a professional wrestler, and to hear words like that come from a legend like Jake the Snake it's unreal.
Is this the busiest tour you've ever been on? I mean, we're looking at the Pick Your Poison tour, which is hitting basically every venue in Western Canada, it seems like, day in, day out. Do you regret coming on tour, being up here in the Canada cold? I have no idea what the weather's like in St. Louis, Missouri, but it's certainly not what it is up here.
Well, when I left St. Louis on Christmas Eve, it was 24 and snowing, and I thought that was miserable. And then I got to Winnipeg, and it was negative 30 and snowing Fahrenheit, so it was pretty miserable. But it is definitely the longest, busiest tour I've ever done. It's 21 days straight, no days off. And the last time I did a 3-week tour, I think I worked about 9 shows. So if that says anything about how busy it is, it's definitely very mentally draining. It's exhausting, but it's worth it, man. I'm out doing what I love every night of the week, so I can't complain.
Now we're getting very close to the big show on the tour here, Winnipeg. It's going to be May 12th at the Essence Event Center in the PEG, and you're going to be challenging for the CWE Championship against the Canadian Hercules Tyler Colton, who has been on fire this tour. What's your mindset going into a major matchup like that?
Well, Tyler's a great athlete, obviously. He's the CWE heavyweight champion for a reason. I had the pleasure of tangling with him in Omaha, Nebraska a couple of years ago, and we've locked up a few times on tour. He's a tough dude, and but he's just a great athlete to work with, and I'm really looking forward to getting in the ring with him again, especially in a city like Winnipeg.
So Jake, when you've been in thousands of major matchups, like just absolutely huge wrestling cards, what's your advice for a KLD who's competing for a major championship like the CWE title?
I think he knows going in what he's got to do, and he knows that Tyler's going to have his game on, and he's got to raise his game. And the thing about him is, each night I go out and watch him, I see a little something different. So fair warning to Tyler, he needs to be sure he's got both eyes wide open, because you never know what this boy's going to drop. I'm serious. He amazes people.
We've got some big matchups in Westman as well. Like I mentioned, Tuesday we're going to be at the Souris and Glenwood Memorial Complex, and Brandon at the Great Western Roadhouse. KLD, what can people expect from you at these 2 shows?
A lot of things they wouldn't expect.
Expect the unexpected.
Exactly. Expect the unexpected. Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
And for you, Jake?
I'm going to be there having a great time. I want to shake some hands. I want to take some pictures with the fans and visit with them. I'm having an amazing time right now, just reliving my past, I guess you might say. It's really nice to reminisce. And I've been through quite a bit in the past few years, and changed a lot of things in my life. Gotten sober basically, and cleaned up my act, and it's a wonderful feeling to be real again, and to be fresh, and to hear these people talk about me. It's really humbling, and I get all giggly and stuff, start feeling like a little kid again, man, because they take me back to the days when they were watching me, and that's just sweet. It really is.
Final question for you. I know you've been going to schools and spending a lot of time actually having conversations with people at the shows. What does it mean to you to hear from someone, whether it be a young child that's seeing you in person for the first time, or an adult that's been following your career for years? What does it mean to you to hear that you've inspired so many people to make such positive changes in their lives as well?
It's breathtaking. It really is, man. It just takes my breath away and leaves me kind of just in awe, because when I did this thing, I was trying to get clean and trying to get sober. You're talking about the resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts. It's on Netflix and stuff now, and you going through it. It's very painful. It's very trying, and you're just wanting it to be over, and you're wanting to be sober. Once that was accomplished, then we had to put the film together and then get it out there for the people to see, so they could draw their conclusions on what they can do in their lives. And that's the thing that you want to see. You just want to see change. When you're in that bad of a position, any change is good. So to hear these people telling me, hey, thanks, man, I've gotten on the straight and narrow, and you helped me get there, man, it's a great, great feeling, and I just don't want anybody to suffer through what I went through. There's just no need for it. I've been to several rehabs and a couple of jails, and I never met anybody in either place that said, you know what, Jake, when I was growing up, my dream was to grow up and become a drunk and a junkie. Nobody dreams of that, but it does happen along the way to some people. And I just want to be out here to give you some pointers and to help you get, steering you in the right direction. And the only direction to go is up. The bottom line is, if you're going to get better, there's one thing that you have to do, and that's just never, ever, ever give up. Because it isn't easy. It's a tough road, but no tougher than the one you're living.
Awesome words of advice. Jake the Snake Roberts, WWE Hall of Famer, KLD, Kevin Lee Davidson. Make sure you see them both in Souris. At the Souris and Glenwood Memorial Complex, bell time is 7 o'clock. Doors open at 6:30 if you're a VIP, and you've got to get your tickets fast because they are going quickly. 6 o'clock would be the time for that. And Brandon at the Great Western Roadhouse, VIP 5:30. Doors open for the regular tickets at 6. Show starts at 6:30. Make sure you are there. We're going to take a quick break here on In Brandon. When we return, we have the CWE champion, we have a 3-time CWE champion, and someone who's looking to score some gold in Souris. We will be right back here on WCG TV. Welcome back to In Brandon. I'm RJ Lilly, and we are here discussing Canadian Wrestling's Elite and the biggest tour in the promotion's history, the Pick Your Poison Tour, featuring WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts. And we are back with even more wrestlers now. We have some more special guests. We'll start by introducing the 3-time CWE champion, Hotshot Danny Duggan. Good to see you again, my friend.
Good morning.
Now, for the first time on WCG TV, we have the CWE heavyweight champion. They call him the Canadian Hercules for a reason, Tyler Colton.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And on the right, or on my immediate left, the first All-Star, Brian Rich. And I have to tell you, after your impressive performance in Verdun, defeating the Canadian Cougar, you've been awarded a shot at the Canadian Unified Junior Heavyweight Championship in Souris. You're going to be taking on Tornado Tony Kozina. Congratulations on that opportunity, and good to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to get this started here. First off, with Danny. I follow you on social media, man, and I know that there was a very close call for you recently here involving one of the pecs.
Yeah, my pectoral muscle and my bicep. Just 2 days before the tour started, I was in action in Winnipeg, and a man by the name of AJ Sanchez, who I'll be doing battle with here in Westman, did some damage. And you know, we say wrestling isn't ballet, and we know what we're getting into when we get into the ring, and we conflict the damage we do to each other. But he took it a step further when he not only tried to win that match, but he tried to end my career, and he came very close to it when he tore my pectoral muscle right off the bone, the small bicep head on my right arm. And I was supposed to undergo surgery last Friday. Luckily, I was able to just avoid it because the swelling is down. It was a clean tear, so they don't have to go in and put it back together, thankfully. So I'm damaged goods at the moment, but I'm still rocking.
Yeah, and I saw the pictures. I mean, it looked like it was a pretty nasty injury there. So are you cleared to compete?
No, not at all. And if luckily this airs in the Westman area, not the Winnipeg area, or my doctor would be giving me a call right now and asking what the heck I'm doing. But by the time that injury had taken its toll, just a matter of days later, it looks normal now. But 2 days after the injury, from my chest all the way down to my arm, the entire thing was swollen and purple. It looked like I was becoming another ethnic background, just the way my skin was changing color on me, and I couldn't move my arm past here. So luckily I've got a little bit more mobility in it right now. I can't do certain movements physically in terms of just in day-to-day movement or in the gym, and I definitely should not be wrestling, to say the very least. But I've got retribution on my mind, and I don't think I'm necessarily thinking clear, but I think I've got to do what I got to do.
I think most people in your situation would try to make it so that they have an easy night. Dare I say even a night off. AJ Sanchez is not a night off. He was the first ever CWE champion, and definitely one of the top guys in the company. Is this smart? It doesn't seem like this is necessarily the best thing for you.
Well, I like to think I coast a little bit more on my good looks and not my brain sometimes, and this is probably one of those situations where I should be sitting out, and I know that deep down in my heart I should be sitting out, but I can't sit out for 3-4 months and allow him to get away with what he did. And realistically, I should do just that and come back bigger and stronger than ever and teach him a lesson, but that's not in my nature. It's not in my nature to sit and rest. I've been doing this for 15 years and I've never taken time to sit off and get better. We power through, and that's what we do. And with him being on this tour and me being on this tour, I can't sit in the locker room unattended and let him get by with what he did. So if it means taking a little bit more of a beating along the way, I'm going to do what I got to do to get some retribution.
I appreciate the fact you still came into Westman too. That was awesome to see. I know that, yeah, like you say, sitting at home may be the easier option, but certainly appreciate the fact that you're still coming out here.
And that's exactly what I was doing for a few days on the tour when I had to fly home and possibly get the surgery done. And it was eating me alive to be sitting at home and watching this tour happen and progress and take place on what's been the biggest CWE tour in history of the company. The crowds have been unreal. We've covered more ground than we ever have before, and more people are turning out to see CWE than ever. So I can't be sitting at home while magic happened like that.
That's awesome. Now, we talk about one of the top guys in the company, not just Danny Duggan and AJ Sanchez. We have the champ in the house right now, Tyler Colton, the Canadian Hercules. Man, things have been looking up for you in the last little while. I mean, you've been on fire in the ring, not just with wins, but just your performances. And hearing from people that have been watching you perform in Westman back when you were the Blue-Eyed Idol, and now you're the Canadian Hercules, there's been such an improvement. What's been the biggest difference for you in making that step?
Well, you said yourself this is the biggest tour in CWE history. It's actually the biggest tour in Canadian wrestling history. No one has done as many dates in a row as this, or as many towns as this, or gone for as long of a stretch as this. So once you start doing these tours and you do shot after shot and show after show, and you can start to realize where these holes in your game are and what things are missing from making your matches from good to great. And so I'm thankful for these tours for that, so that I can start to see, well, this didn't really work tonight. Maybe I didn't go as hard as I could have here. So the next night I can go harder. And the next night I can figure out what was missing from that one thing, and I can make it happen. I can make it work.
Now, you have a huge title match coming up as well. We talked about Kevin Lee Davidson, KLD in Winnipeg, but focusing on Brandon at the Great Western Roadhouse, you're taking on a guy that has not wrestled in Brandon before, actually making his Brandon debut, Kevin O'Doyle. The man's a monster from Boston, Massachusetts. How do you prepare for a guy like that there isn't necessarily a lot of tape on?
Well, that's kind of the thing, is that a guy like Kevin Lee Davidson, he's a big athletic monster, and he'll surprise you when he does some things a guy that size shouldn't be able to do. Whereas Kevin O'Doyle, he's a guy who's just a lug. And that works out in his own way too, where he's just going to come in there and he's going to try to beat the crap out of me. He's not going to have any fancy things. He's not going to have a lot of big flashy moves, but he is going to abuse somebody in that ring. And we say there's not a lot of tape on the guy. Well, I've wrestled him quite a few times, and he's not an easy guy to wrestle with. He's a big, heavy dude, and he makes things extremely challenging.
Yeah, O'Doyle Rules is one of the chants you're going to hear in Winnipeg all the time if you come out to a Canadian Wrestling's Elite show, and I'm sure we're going to hear some of them as well in Brandon. That's guaranteed to be a great match, so best of luck.
Thank you.
Against O'Doyle and later on against KLD.
Yes.
Brian Rich, the first All-Star, I announced it at the beginning of this segment here. You had an awesome match in Verdun against the Canadian Cougar, and as a result, you've been awarded a title shot for the Canadian Unified Junior Heavyweight Championship. Talk about another guy who's been on fire, Tornado Tony Kozina. He actually did drop the belt in a big matchup, I believe, in Calgary, but he did win the belt back and has been, I think, 6-1 or 7-1 or something like that, or 7-0, I guess, since that loss. What do you do going in against a guy that many would call a wrestling legend in North America based on just his success over the last 20 years?
Tony Kozina is a machine, man. He's been wrestling 21 years, ever since I was little. And he's been jumping on these tours, going every night, going hard, defending that title. But the thing about Tony is he studies the guys he's been wrestling, and I think he's going to be a little complacent because he's never stepped in the ring with me before, and I'm planning on taking gold and back to Westman.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that you get an opportunity at this title. Sometimes when companies do make their way out to Westman, they don't bring their top talent, but you certainly can't say that about CWE, with multiple championships being defended throughout this tour.
Right.
Going for the Canadian Unified Junior Heavyweight Championship, without giving too much of your game plan away, what are you looking to do to catch a guy like Tony Kozina off guard, if that's even possible?
Surprise him. I want him. I think Tony thinks he's got it all figured out, and as soon as he has it figured out, he's going to realize he doesn't have it figured out, and that's that's my game plan without giving too much away.
Sounds good. So best of luck. That match will be taking place in Souris. We are recording this on the Souris date. We're going to be at the Souris and Glenwood Memorial Complex tonight. Bell time is 7 o'clock. You need to get there early to get your seats. The shows have been pretty well sold out all the time, and the best seats are going very quickly. What we can do as well is if you do have a regular ticket, if you pay an extra $5 at the door, we will upgrade you to VIP so you can get your seats early. So make sure you do that. VIP, be there at 6 o'clock. And then in Brandon, we're starting things a little bit earlier, 5:30 for the VIP, 6 o'clock for the general admission, and 6:30 bell time. It's going to be headlined by WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts. You can see on your screen right now, Tyler Colton, the Canadian Hercules, is going to be in the house defending the championship. And the first All-Star, Brian Rich, as well, will be competing. It's a stacked card in Brandon, the Pick Your Poison Tour. Canadian Wrestling's Elite, always bringing the top talent to town, and it continues on this tour. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have a little bit more conversation as to what you can expect on the rest of this tour and where you can follow your favorite CWE superstars. Don't go anywhere. You're watching In Brandon on WCG TV. Welcome back to In Brandon. I'm RJ Lilly, and we are here for a special program as Canadian Wrestling's Elite has made its way back to Westman. It's the biggest tour in Canadian history, but also it's without question the biggest events in Souris and Brandon as well. We have three guests in studio: the three-time CWE champion hotshot Danny Duggan, we have the Canadian Hercules and CWE champion Tyler Colton, and the first All-Star Brian Rich, who's going to be competing for the Canadian Unified Junior Heavyweight Championship in Souris on Tuesday. If you're watching it today, certainly make sure you are at the Souris and Glenwood Memorial Complex to take in that match. And again on Brandon, in Brandon on Wednesday at the Great Western Roadhouse. And we'll start with Brian Rich here. What does it mean to you to be able to wrestle on these huge shows in Westman? Like I say, when you have a WWE Hall of Famer like Jake the Snake Roberts, without question, it's going to be the biggest show in Westman.
Well, I like to get in the ring as much as I can. Having these tours is very good to learning and owning your craft and getting better each and every time. With a guy like Jake, I have the privilege of being on a few of these shows and getting to learn from a man that, let's be honest, I had one of those blankets and comforter sets when I was a kid, and he was on them. You know, you look up, listening to his promos, I was scared of him. He came out with a snake, and it scared the crap out of me. I really enjoyed getting the opportunity to meet Jake and to learn and get some advice from him. And I think it's essential, and it's good business for Westman and to get more people in the door.
Now, I didn't know you as a kid, but I can imagine now just how scared you must have been seeing that snake.
I'm still scared of them. I'm still scared of those things, man.
We actually got to see what that was like yesterday in Verdun. It caught everybody off guard. And Danny, I'll get you to talk about that, being the guy that helps put all of these things together. I would refer to it as 9 feet of fear, because the moment we saw it, people just ran away.
Being in the wrestling business, I'm used to being around snakes in the locker room, but when that snake made its way into the locker room in Verdun last night, I physically jumped out of the way when they opened that box and he started slithering his way into my direction. I was out of there.
I wasn't there. I was out.
Yeah, when Jake the Snake Roberts obviously didn't have an issue with it, but pretty much everybody else did. And if you haven't seen the video online, CWE Canada, make sure you take a look. Jacob Creed got up close and personal with it as well, and let's just say I'm thrilled that I'm not in that position.
The scary thing about that snake is it's 9 feet long, and they told me that snake is going to grow to be 25 feet long when it's all said and done. I was 2 years old, and it's going to put on another 16, 17 pounds before it's all said and done. And it was frightening as is. So I couldn't imagine being Jacob Creed last night and having that snake slither all over you.
When I walked in, you could see the bin, and I knew it was in there. I knew there was a snake in there. But when you look over, you still get that shiver down your spine. You still, when you see it moving and you see how huge it is, there's just, it creeps the hell out of you, man.
I've been in the reptile gardens a few times to try to get, try to break the fear kind of thing and go and check them out. They got poisonous snakes and stuff like that and try to get comfortable, but that snake's coming in the locker room, I'm out. I might not be fully dressed, but I'm out. That close is too much for me, can't do it.
Thanks to the Westman Reptile Gardens for helping put that together. A little heads up next time would be nice, because that I had the best seat in the house for that moment, and that was way at the back of the room. So that was a lot of fun. Now we're talking about making sure you have the best seat in the house at the Great Western Roadhouse and Souris and Glenwood Memorial Complex. But I urge you, travel to Winnipeg on May 12th, because we're talking about the biggest tour in company history, in Canadian history, but not only that, the biggest match in, well, not just Western Canada, or dare we even say North America, the 50, and I'm not wrong on that, the 50-man Rumble to Remember at the Essence Event Center in Winnipeg, May 12th. It's going to be awesome. And I got to ask Tyler Colton this, the Canadian Hercules. You've been preparing for a lot of different wrestlers over the last couple of months as you've been champion. But you don't know who you will be wrestling at the anniversary show, because one of those 50 men who wins the Rumble to Remember gets to take you on. And I'm not ashamed to say this. There are 3 people on this set who are entered to compete in that Rumble, all of which would love a shot at your title.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching all my RJ Lilly tapes, and I've been studying, and I'm making sure that I'm prepared in case that should happen. Like, if it's Danny or if it's Brian Rich, I'm fine. I'm not worried about it. But if it were RJ Lilly, I'd really have to be concerned, and I'd really have to be on my top of my game, I think. But no, I won this title through an opportunity that I got through winning the Rumble to Remember, so it happens. Guys win the title. I'm actually a 2-time winner. I think that me and Danny are the only ones to do that. Luckily, being on these tours, I wrestle a different guy every night. Most nights, I get a first-hand perspective on everybody in the company. So it doesn't really matter who that except for you maybe, but whoever, it doesn't matter who that 50-man winner is. I'll be ready for them, because I'm wrestling everybody that's in Canada. I'm staying busy, I'm staying sharp, and I'll be absolutely prepared for it.
Yeah, some people thought it was ridiculous. I entered the Rumble when I only wrestle once every 2 years, but I'll tell you what, so does Brock Lesnar, and how did he do? So you just wait and see CWE's Rumble to Remember at the Essence Event Center in Winnipeg. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of surprises are going to be in that match every year. It is just absolutely fantastic. And yeah, as a multiple-time winner yourself, what's your advice to the wrestlers who will be no doubt watching this, looking for maybe a little bit of advice? What would you tell them?
Stay out of my way, because I'm going to be the only 3-time winner of the Rumble to Remember when Friday's all said and done.
That's pretty good advice. I think
I respectfully disagree.
Well, I was going to say that's advice I'll take.
I respectfully disagree, but
I'm the only man to win the CWE Championship 3 times, and I'm going to be the only man to win the Rumble to Remember 3 times. And as much as me and Tyler Colton love traveling the roads together, and we like hitting the gym together, the CWE Championship is what it's all about when it comes to Canadian Wrestling's elite and it comes to touring Canada. And this belt right here is a representation of who the best in Canada is. And although he holds it on his lap right now, I proudly believe I am the best in Canada, if not North America right now. So I just need that to complete the collection.
Now, the other thing as well we do have to mention is there is, and don't take this as any disrespect, there is a chance that Tyler Colton may not be the champion when Friday comes around, because like we mentioned, he does have title shots. First off, he's going to be defending the title against Kevin O'Doyle in Brandon at the Great Western Roadhouse on Wednesday night, so make sure that you are there, because you never know, Kevin O'Doyle could be the champion going into the Rumble to Remember. And Tyler Colton has been defending that title all throughout the tour, so anything can happen. It has been proven before. CWE will surprise you when you least expect it. So that's all the time we have. Make sure you are at the Souris and Glenwood Memorial Complex Tuesday night or tonight. It's going to be a 7 o'clock bell time start, 6:30 for the regular admission, 6 o'clock for VIPs. Great Western Roadhouse on Wednesday in Brandon, 5:30 for the VIPs, 6 o'clock general admission. Although pay an extra $5 at the door, we'll get you in for VIP and we'll get you some good seats. Bell time will be 6:30 for that. The first All-Star Brian Rich, the CWE champion Canadian Hercules Tyler Colton, and the 3-time CWE champion Hotshot Danny Duggan. Thanks so much for coming on the show, guys.
Thank you, RJ.
Thank you.
That's it for In Brandon. Thanks for watching, and make sure we'll see you at the doors at CWE's Pick Your Poison Tour. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we will see you at the event.